Hello, Gabby Turner here. Welcome to this pick a card reading. This was a viewer request. I do try to honor viewer requests as often as I can. And someone wanted to know what's next in love. So that's the question we're looking into. And we have three options here. I do want to give a disclaimer about predictions, but hold on for that disclaimer. But let me present the options to you. Option number one is represented by goddess Rhiannon. Option number two is represented by goddess Sekhmet. And option number three is represented by the Muses. So the timestamps are listed in the description box below with the names here. We have Rhiannon number one, Sekhmet number two, the Muses number three. So my disclaimer about predictions is that a prediction is not a guarantee, and predictions are a little bit tricky. You know, I feel like I don't know if this is just me, you know, but my skill set is more to like really being able to tune into someone's mental and emotional space and understand where they're coming from, what they're feeling, what they're thinking, what their motives are. Obviously, even that, you can't expect anyone to be omniscient, even in terms of those things, but that's my greatest skill set. People want predictions, though. They seek divination because we want to know what's going to happen, right? But we can't always, for one thing, we are not always meant to know what's going to happen. For another thing, it is really healthy for us to learn how to be comfortable with not knowing. And you know, if it's not meant for you to know something, then it doesn't matter how many psychic readings you get. The information is not going to come through if it's something that you are not meant to know. And many times we are not, because knowing something ahead of time would influence the outcome. And then there are times when we can know, and it can be beneficial for us to know what's going to happen. The other thing is when we're looking at predictions, you know, just like with psychic predictions, it's kind of like predicting the weather. You know, we can predict the weather, yes. You know, the sooner the outcome is, it's easier to predict the weather than predicting it like further out, right? The same is kind of true with psychic predictions, because so many different things are in flux that are affecting what that weather is going to be and what the upcoming events of your life are going to be. Which is why I really don't like it when people ask me, for example, like, am I going to pass this test that I'm taking? Like, I understand people are nervous, so they want some sort of confirmation that they're going to pass the test. But like, what if they hear a yes, and then they decide not to study, and then that affects the outcome, and then they don't pass the test, right? It's like, we have to be careful with predictions. And the other thing I want to say in this sort of long-winded disclaimer is that certain things in life are fated or destined, right? They're sort of predetermined. And these are things that cannot be changed. They're fixed in our lives somehow. But the vast majority of our life experiences are not. So if something is a definite destiny, then it's going to happen. And predictions sometimes can pick those things up. But again, like I said, sometimes we're not supposed to know about certain things until they happen. If we were meant to know everything about how our life was going to unfold, what would be the point of living it? You know, we're here to have a lived experience. So I don't know, anything else the spirit guides want to say here before we get into the actual readings? We have the Hanged Man reversed and then the Five of Pentacles reversed. I think what they're saying is, like, when we deny ourselves the opportunity to actually plunge into the lived experience, so the Hanged Man reverse, we are keeping ourselves from a much greater understanding of life. And when we feel that we need to the Five of Pentacles, when we feel like we need to be able to like abscond with every kernel of truth and like feel that sense of control of like, aha, I know, right? This guy's holding a head. It's like holding knowledge. I know this thing that I'm not supposed to know yet. There's a sort of entitlement, or like I'm getting away with something by knowing my future. And yet this is just, it's not like a great energy, is it? The Five of Pentacles. The Hangman, which is showing up in reverse, like this is a card that is about wisdom, and that sometimes we have to make sacrifices in order to attain wisdom. And I know that's a long-winded, maybe it's coming across as sort of patronizing prelude to the question at hand, which is what is coming up in my love life, right? What's next in my love life? But I'm just trying to help you understand like the degree to which such a reading can and cannot actually help you in your life. Right, so I'm asking my spirit guides for help in explaining this. We also have the King of Swords and the Queen of Pentacles. I mean, I feel like they're saying, listen, we have to stay grounded. We have to stay logical. We are the ones making choices in our lives. Every single day, all day long, you are making choices, right? So keep doing that. Make choices. Make choices that align with what you want your life to be. And in terms of what comes forward in this reading, we have the Hermit card. You know, like when we're looking at a prediction, look at this guy. He's looking at this, it's like a seashell. I can't focus the camera. I can't touch it with that hand. But anyway, that's what he's doing. This is the Hermit. So he's being logical, he's being grounded, but he's also like looking for the kernel of truth or the kernel of insight. So that's what you should look for in this reading. Like, what is this reading telling me that helps me to understand, Chariot card, how I want to approach my future from the present, which is where I am. Right? The Chariot card is about we're traveling this journey. And just like when we're in a chariot, we get to make choices. Are we going to turn left? Are we going to turn right? Are we going to move straight forward? Are we going to go in reverse? You know, are we in alignment? Are we balanced? If not, are we going to get balanced? We're going to get in alignment. So if what you hear is coming up in your reading is something that you want, how do you get into alignment with that? If it's something that you don't want, how do you get in alignment with a better outcome? All right, so let's go ahead and get into it, guys. I'll use those timestamps and I'll see you at your reading. All right, group 1, you chose Goddess Rhiannon. Or Rhiannon, I'm not sure. I think you can pronounce it either way, but so let's go ahead and get into your reading. And I did make a disclaimer. If you want to watch the disclaimer, that's fine. If you don't, that's also fine. It's up to you. But I do explain a little bit about how you can work best with a predictive reading. There are different types of tarot readings. You know, like a lot of readings are more geared towards, which is what I do best, I think, understanding another person's emotions, mindset, understanding even yourself more fully, having greater self-awareness. Is something I use tarot for a lot in my own personal practice for myself. But we're going to see what's coming up for you. But first I need to see, like, where are you now? Because if what I'm picking up in your current energy is not accurate, then this is not likely to be the correct reading for you. Okay, we have the Four of Pentacles. I'm using the Edgar Allan Poe tarot deck. Four of Pentacles. Okay, Seven of Swords. Okay. We've got the Four of Pentacles, the Seven of Swords, the Six of Pentacles, the Six of Swords, and the Two of Wands. Guys, there's a lot going on here with you currently. I feel like some of you are kind of stuck in being determined to get your way in things. Like there are control mechanisms here that you're very attached to. And I feel that way because the Four of Pentacles is a lot about like holding on, clutching on for dear life. And then it's followed by the Seven of Swords, which in this particular, I mean, this card always has to do with scheming, but in this particular deck, it's even more like that. Like, look at this person's furrowed brow. Like, it's like they're playing chess with life. You know, sure, we could view life as a game, but this is someone who's viewing life as a game in a kind of toxic mentality. And then it's followed by the Six of Pentacles, which is normally a more positive card, but it's almost like I'm going to, I don't know, it just gives me this feeling of like I'm determined to get my way in things. I'm determined to get what I want. And what's interesting is like, I feel like for a lot of you, when you see this type of behavior in other people, it does mirror back to you like, wow, I don't want to be like that, right? Like here you see like this person observing someone running off with a dagger, which is kind of that energy that I just described of like wanting to get away with things, like maybe even wanting to manipulate circumstances to your own benefit. And but I do feel like when you see this type of behavior in other people, it's obvious to you that that's not what you want for yourself. And yet there is something in you right now where you're exhibiting this type of behavior. You know, maybe you're aware of it on a certain level, maybe you're not. I don't know. I think maybe some of you are aware of it and some of you are not aware of it. And the intention here is not to hurt your feelings or like make you feel bad about yourself. But this is what I see is going on here, that you're trying to pull strings to get your way in things. What does that mean? We have the Nine of Pentacles, the Two of Cups, and the Ace of Wands. I mean, it's kind of giving me the feeling of like maybe you're wanting someone to be in love with you, but you're wanting that without any sort of strings attached. It's like, I want the validation, I want the surge of serotonin, that dopamine rush of like feeling like someone's got the feelings for me. I want to pull the little marionette strings on this person and get them to have those feelings for me or demonstrate those. But you're the Nine of Pentacles. Like you're really not, you're not even like wanting to actually be with the person. Maybe there's a part of yourself that's convinced yourself that you do, but it's really more about pulling the strings and getting the emotional reaction or the attention from someone else. Yeah, we have the Four of Wands. Like I kind of feel like you guys like being single, whether you are single or you're not. That's kind of like what you actually want right now. But at the same time, I don't know, it's like you still want the like drama or the intrigue of knowing that someone is attracted to you. Anything else about where group one is currently, and then we're going to get into like what's coming next. Yeah, I feel like you're in this repetitive cycle of like trying to provoke some sort of attention. there's a sort of attention seeking, like wanting attention from other people. You feel like you get it, but you may not be going about that in a way that is necessarily extremely benevolent or like thoughtful about how it's affecting the other people involved. Yeah, I'm getting attention, but am I being considerate in the process? Sometimes the more benevolent thing to do, and actually the way to your own happiness, is like to release that sort of entanglement of needing to provoke that reaction or attention, getting an emotional reaction from someone else. It's almost like what I feel here, and I think this is a sort of segue into what's coming next for you if you choose this option. If you choose to let go of those ways and just say, well, let me just be open to what happens, and like, let me be open to my own greatest happiness and not be trying to pull the strings in order to get this validation, attention, etc. That's when the World card appears. That's when what truly brings you happiness will come about, when you're not trying to pull the strings for that immediate gratification, that immediate surge of attention and validation, which feels like what's going on more now. And like, that is a very human thing, by the way. We seek that all day long in various ways, right? Okay. So what's coming up in Group 1's love life? We have the Six of Swords. So there is that like healing, the healing that comes from self-awareness, and the Star card. Yeah. So I feel that this is healing. It's almost like an inflamed need for validation or attention that is being exhibited in a kind of toxic way, or a way that is like lacking in thoughtfulness or consideration. And what you're doing is you're becoming more self-aware, and you're healing that. These are both cards of healing, the Six of Swords and the Star card. And it's also about like feeling love more profoundly, but not in a needy, provoking kind of way, but more in a kindness and consideration type of way. Yeah. And like, that's when you're going to start feeling the love more from other people. And I do feel like this is because I still kind of feel, to be quite honest, Group 1, that you don't necessarily want to be in a like relationship with someone per se, but we are in relationship with all sorts of people, right? Like, we relate to people. And these cards are indicating that there's almost like a clean slate, or a clearer, more pure, more healed energy. It's like the waters of love between you and other people, whether they're friends, family, acquaintances, etc. It's like it's purified, it's fresh, it's beautiful, you know? It's like, I don't know, like there's a fresh new start, and like you feel the love differently, and it's so much more pure because you're not having to pull the strings to try to feel it. It's the waters of love between you and other people, you know. This feels more like platonic love, not that there couldn't be also, you know, someone or even multiple people that you also have romantic love for, with these waters of love flowing back and forth. But it's like a fresh spring, you know. It just feels so much better. It's like the load has been lightened because you're starting to trust that you're loved. This is what I think is happening here for you, is like you're leaning into the fact that I am lovable. I can trust that people love me. I don't have to pull it out of people through trying to get attention or reactions or validation. So I think that this is really beautiful. Let me see if there's anything else your spirit guides want to say about that. I'm getting a no with 3 cards reversed here. But so I think that the message has been delivered. Group 1, let me know how you feel about that reading in the comments below. Don't hold back. Tell me all your feelings. I want to know. All right, but thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye. All right, Group 2, welcome to your reading. You chose Goddess Sekhmet, and it says healing. Interesting. We had some healing going on in Group 1's reading as well. Let's see if that keyword comes up in your reading. So we're going to be looking at what's next in your love life, but first I want to kind of see where you are now. And when I cut the deck, I get the King of Swords and the Devil card. I'm gonna look a little bit deeper into that. Like, I read sort of intuitively, and I get like a sort of feeling of what a card is trying to say, because one card can mean like a gajillion different things, right? It's like a letter of the alphabet can be used to make so many words, and those words can be used to make sentences. The tarot can speak to us in a multitude of ways. I feel like with that King of Swords and the Devil card, there's something here where maybe you're contemplating. This is where you are currently. You're in your head. You're trying to be honest with yourself. That King of Swords. Let me be honest with myself about my attachments with other people. Devil card. And I feel like you're trying to be very fair-minded of like, let me see where I'm right and where I might be wrong. Let me see where the other person might be right and where the other person might be wrong. It's like you're willing to see, I feel like, your own shadow in the connection with another person, or maybe you're looking at multiple people in your life, but like you're willing to see both sides, right? It's like you're, you know, the term blame game, you're not playing the blame game. You're looking at it more holistically. Like, I don't think we can say, this is your mindset. I don't think that I could honestly say that it's necessarily all my fault, but I also don't necessarily think that it's all the other person's fault. But what you do seem to be acknowledging is that there is something about this connection that maybe could be healed, where something might be stuck. I'm getting the Ace of Swords and the Four of Pentacles. Something here is a little bit stuck. We maybe are in a rut, like we're challenged to move into the next better, more positive phase of things, right? So you understand that things could be better, and yet it's like, well, they're not getting to that betterness yet. Anything else about Group 2's what's currently happening with them? I'm getting a no. Most cards are reversed, coupled with the Justice upright. So I've already seen the Ace of Swords upright. So Justice upright and Ace of Swords upright are kind of confirmations from my guides as well that I'm on point. So this is where you're at. You're willing to consider both sides, but you do know that there's room for improvement. Okay, so what's coming up here for Group 2? Okay. All right. So we have the Page of Swords, the Three of Swords, and the Fool card. You know, to me, it feels like what's coming up is you seeing with greater clarity that sometimes when you're trying to get a fresh start, sometimes somebody's feelings are going to have to get hurt in the process. And this, you know, an example of this is like if something that you have observed that is toxic between you and another person is that maybe they're trying to get your attention in a very immature way, right? Like instead of treating you with kind words, they're like bullying you. You know, it's like in the 3rd grade when a boy likes a girl, he pulls her pigtails. As an example, you could respond to that and say like, oh, isn't that great? You know, he likes me. Or you could be like, you know what, I'm going to ignore that bad behavior because it seems like when I react to it, then it continues and we're like stuck and we're not getting to the higher ground here. That's just an example, but there's something here with this person that feels like it's immature or negative, or the two of you are just, you're stuck in a cycle that is really not good for either of you, right? And it's like, you're like, well, I think I'm just going to have to take the higher ground. Maybe it will hurt their feelings if I leave them unread, or if I break up with them, or like whatever it is that you have to do. It's like some choice that you have to make here. You realize that it might cause them pain, and I think it causes you pain to have to make that choice too, you know? It's like you kind of want to indulge them and respond, but you're like, if I do that, the cycle is going to continue, and this is not a good cycle. But what I also think you see is that, like, even though there might be that initial pain, and maybe it even hurts you worse, you know how like parents will sometimes say that to their kids, it hurts me more than it hurts you. Like, you might even recognize that at some level, like, it is hard for you not to indulge this person, but you're having to make that choice. And it's like it frees both of you to finally move into this new cycle. It's like, okay, now we can do things differently. And for some of you, that might mean that you're choosing to go your own way, and you're allowing them to choose to go their own way. Because we're talking about a real fresh start here. For others of you, maybe that will mean, I think for most of you, it's what I already just said though, but it does seem like some sort of fresh start. Like we're kind of like cutting the cord in some sort of way, which leads to so much more peace. We have the Star card and the Four of Wands. It's like the phase of peace can begin. Oh, finally we can be at peace. We can stop having these non-stop arguments. We can stop going round and round in the ring and, like, you know, like having the same conversation 1,000 times and we're never getting anywhere. It's like maybe just not having the conversation anymore is the actual way forward. You know, like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes people just need to go their own way. Yeah, and I do feel like what will emerge from that is we have the Hanged Man, the Eight of Cups, and the Hermit card. A lot of self-awareness, like deep, abiding, profound self-awareness. And I think this is primarily what I see for you. For them, it does still bring them that peace. Like there's a major benefit because it brings so much more inner peace to this person as well. But for you, it's like there's so much greater self-awareness. Like in having to make that sacrifice to begin with, you know what? I'm going to have to exhibit some tough love here. Going to have to cut the cords. Going to have to like stop responding or whatever it is, right? Going to move on. The Eight of Cups is always telling us that like that moving on process is not easy, but we understand that we've got to do it. So that's what I see you doing. Moving on in your own energy here with the Hermit card, but the Hangman and the Hermit card are both about greater levels of self-awareness. These two cards are both about sacrifice, making necessary sacrifices in order to obtain greater self-awareness, or just to clear the waters emotionally and create a more healed, beneficial emotional experience for ourselves. So that's what I see here. Lots of healing and self-awareness, you understanding your own self better, you understanding better what you want out of life. Is there anything else your spirit guides are wanting to say here? I have all, well, not all three cards. I have most cards reversed, so that to me that is a no. Your spirit guides are done talking to you. But I just think, I do feel like there's a little bit of a final word of advice with that Knight of Swords upright, which is just, you know, we have to be willing sometimes to exhibit that tough love. We have to be willing to assert for our own needs. And I think that's what's about to happen for you, group 2. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know what your reactions are to this reading, whether good or bad, in the comments below. If you have ideas for topics, I'd love to hear those as well. And you can get information about personal readings in the description box. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye. All right, group 3, you chose the Muses as your goddesses. Only one of them is pictured here, but I think the Muses are like a trio of goddesses. I could be wrong. Let me know if you have some thoughts or ideas or understanding of that. All right, so let's start off. I did this with the first 2 readings, and I think it was very helpful. So we're looking at what's next in your love life, but let's kind of look first at where you're at right now. And so that you know if this reading is correct for you, because if what I'm saying does not make sense, then, you know, like, what's the point of listening to the rest of it? But I get the Knight of Cups and the Three of Cups for you in terms of what's going on for you now. for you now. So I do feel that you probably do have feelings for someone, but we also have the Three of Cups. And in this instance, what it makes me feel is that you might have, maybe there's one person you feel especially strongly for right now emotionally, like your emotions are more taken with this one specific person. But I do feel like there also could be other people who you also have crushy feelings for. Let's clarify. Let's pull a few more cards about where group 3 is right now. Yeah, okay. It's like, so we have the Hermit card, we have the Page of Pentacles, and then we have the Fool card. To me, it feels like you're not really wanting to jump in head first into, you know, forming a relationship or whatever, like with one significant person. Even though you might be exploring your feelings, especially strongly about one person in particular, I don't know, I feel like kind of like with some of you, it's like you kind of still just want the opportunity to like hang out with your friends, like get into adventures with your friends, and not necessarily settle down right now. It's not that you are against settling down. I feel like with this Page of Pentacles, like you're open to the idea of settling down, but you're considering it, right? Like you could say like window shopping in a sense. Like you're window shopping, you're like taking your time before you make that final purchase, sort of. Yeah, we have the King of Swords. Yeah, okay. So we have the King of Swords, the Devil card. That's interesting. Those two cards came up in group 2 at the very beginning of their reading together. But the King of Swords, the Devil card, and then the Five of Pentacles. What I feel like is, I do feel like you guys are having a lot of self-awareness. And it's like you recognize that, it's like when you start to try to form an attachment to a specific person, a relationship, or like going steady with that person, or like whatever you want to call it. Like your focus is on that one person and you're giving all your energy to that. What you have noticed in the past is like it tends to devolve in some kind of way. Like things get kind of like turbulent between you and the person. Egos get involved. It's almost like, is this love or is this war? You know? Do we love each other or do we hate each other? Like, what's going on here? Like, I feel like you've had that experience before, and that's part of why you're trying to slow it down right now. Slow it down and really think about, like, okay, what's the best course of action here? Because you're trying to be a bit more grown up than you have been in the past. Yes, you do have feelings for someone. I think there's someone in particular you do have feelings for. Like I said, you might still have crushes on other people, but there's one person in particular who's really like touching your heart at the moment. But there's a lot of fear. We have the Nine of Swords and the Tower card. You see how this building is being split in half? You know, and the Nine of Swords has to do with our fears and anxieties. It's like you're kind of having these mental nightmares of like everything that could possibly go wrong with you and this person, and you don't want that to happen because you really care about this person. Anything else about where group 3 is currently? So, I mean, we have the 10 of Cups, the 3 of Wands, and then the Chariot reversed. Yeah, I mean, I think your spirit guides are kind of affirming, first of all, that what you're choosing right now is wise. You're choosing with wisdom. You're choosing from actual love, right? Your motivation towards this person by slowing it down and not like automatically going into, I'm going to pursue this love interest. Slowing it down and like considering what the best course of action is, like not needing to jump in. allowing yourself to understand there are multiple ways of moving forward here, and there's no need to rush it. Like, I feel like your spirit guides are just affirming that that is the best course of action. So you're like, basically they're saying you're doing the right thing here. Good on you. All right, so what's coming up for group 3? Okay, so we have the 2 of Pentacles, which in this particular deck, this is the Edgar Allan Poe deck, it makes me think of like a date. Or someone who's gotten to the date early and they're waiting for their date to arrive. I feel like what's coming next for you is maybe dating. Perhaps this person, perhaps one of the other crushes. For most of you, it feels like what's coming up is actually dating this one special person. But dating, we have the 10 of Pentacles reversed. So it's like, let's just date each other. So again, it's like moving at a slow pace, you know, like let's take it one step at a time. We don't have to plunge in head first. But I do see in the near future, you dating this person. So like the romantic intentions have finally been laid out on the table. It's obvious, like we're seeing what the potential is here, but we're taking it slowly still, is what it feels like to me. And I feel like the person that you're interested in is okay with that. We have the Queen of Wands upright, the 3 of Swords reversed, the Queen of Swords reversed. Like, I feel like basically that this person is happy to be dating you. They do also have a mutual chemistry with you, like they like you a lot as well. But I think they also don't necessarily want to be, you know, trapped in a cage or like, you know, like nail it down too quickly. Yeah, I think this person likes having the freedom of, they do want to spend time with you. Like they don't want to be like icing you out. They don't want to be in isolation. They don't want coldness. Like they like the warmth with the Queen of Wands. Like they like getting to cozy up to you and like flirt with you, hugging and kissing, that type of thing. Like they love that. So it makes them feel happy that the 2 of you are dating and are getting to experience that with each other. But yeah, it's almost like if things moved too quickly, I feel like this person would almost resent it. It's like, wow, why is my freedom and my autonomy being stripped away from me so quickly? You know, it's like it would put them into bitch mode. So again, I do feel again like the slow and steady, it's working for both of you. It's kind of what both of you need. Yeah, and we have the Justice card upright. I feel like one or both of you is, you know, it's not easy for you to want to settle down into a relationship. And it's not that you don't want it at all, but it's like, listen, we got to go about it in a way that works, right? Like we got to build this, we've got to construct this like one stone at a time. We have that Queen of Wands coming up again. The Queen of Wands is a free spirit. She does not like being locked up in an ivory tower. You know, she wants to be able to be free to be herself. No, this does not mean that she is a slut. It just means, you know, like she has to be herself. Like she doesn't like to be constrained in any way. But yeah, I mean, I think like Knight of Pentacles, like if the 2 of you go about it slow and steady, you can both figure out along the way, like, how can we have a relationship? Because it does feel like it's going in that direction. Like there's definitely the potential there, but like not leaping into it allows you to build that foundation more solidly. So you kind of know how are we going to do this in a way that like really works for both of us and makes us both feel happy, where it is fair to both of us, where, you know, we're willing to harmonize and compromise, so we don't get into that, like what I saw before that you may have experienced, like, is this love or is this war, right? Like I feel like you and this person have the opportunity to be having a peaceful, harmonious connection that leads to a relationship, potentially, right? But you're going about it step by step. Like, let's just keep figuring it out along the way if a relationship makes sense. And if it does make sense, like, going slowly helps us to do that in a healthy, mutually beneficial way. All right, so I hope that was helpful, Group 3. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you thought about this reading in the comments, whether good or bad, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye.